My big suggestion to students, particularly through high school, is
You can do anything.
Choose it for you, not for it is worth
it.
Just focus on the next
Doesn't
step.
matter what you're doing.
Don't be afraid.
As long as you're doing
That
something.
is such good advice.
I don't think I could see myself doing
It's a
anything else.
challenging life.
Student nights, Wednesday to
Oh,
Saturday.
I worked on that house.
I racked up every single dollar of debt that I
I
possibly
think there's
could.
a lot of pressure on high school.
Yeah, I
kids
just
these
love
days, right?
working outside.
And if money is something that you care a lot
In
about,
hindsight, that
I've
was...
also been a very indecisive
But you
person.
keep looking for roads that have been less
It
travelled.
was just that moment that I knew what I wanted to do. So nothing else is going to change that.
Welcome to the guest speaker.
Hello.
We were just talking about you, Eva.
I know, my ears were burning.
Look at you with your certificate in the background.
I know. This is product placement, so I decided this is the perfect place to do it. So this is my $60,000 piece of paper in the background.
Yeah, so just on the general, are you all good? Life's good?
Yeah, I am good. Yeah. Yeah, no, I love Taupo. It's so nice here. We're coming into winter, so it's pretty cold. But I've got a log burner in the house and a heat pump, and you just dress for it. And yeah, no, it's so, I just love it here. Like, and that photo that I sent you when you messaged me, Ludlam, where I was walking along the lake, like it's just hard to beat, you know.
Cool.
Yeah. What about you? How's the new life? How's retirement?
Yeah, it's been good. Yeah, a different view on life, and it was time to I don't know, try something new. But
Yeah. Cambridge High School will miss you though.
yeah, maybe, yeah. I suppose everyone hopes so, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've done a pretty shit job if that's not the case, I suppose.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's true.
But then all of a sudden, this was an idea Grace and I had. Well, I talked to her. It was actually, I'm going to say it was almost years ago.
It's been years ago, brilliant, honestly.
Yeah, and she patiently waited, and she was doing her own thing, and she still is. But I mean, you'll remember, Eva, this was one of the things. I mean, you visited my classes before, and I've been saying to Grace, it was that realization when you'd walk out, it was lost. And all of those eyes that popped up, all of those kids that were engaged in what you were saying, they were the only ones seeing it. And it always just seemed a waste. And I felt really guilty. Even the school sort of made you feel slightly like it was only those privileged kids in my room that got it. So this was an idea that sort of made me think, well, there's not actually only kids in Cambridge. There's kids all around the country who want to hear what kids are up to and get advice. So
honestly, it's such a cool idea. I remember you mentioning it when I
That's right.
you. So yeah, I did know that it was in the pipeline, and it's so cool to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, well, actually, that was at that conference you spoke at.
Yes, that's right. That was good. That was a lot of fun.
That was a while ago. Yeah, wicked. Oh, thank you for being here.
No, thanks for having me.
Well, do we start?
Yeah.
Good as any. Yep.
And me.
So look, I did a bit of an intro thing yesterday, but whether we use that or not, but obviously you did an ag science degree at Lincoln and you now work for Ravensdown. But I suppose before we get to there and now, I want to take you back to just so kids can see, okay, so if I want to be like Eva and I'm really interested in her career, where did she start? What did school look like for you? Probably particularly secondary school, but there may have been poignant moments in your primary as well. But what sort of kid were you? Explain your reflection on high school and what you were good at, bad at what advantages you took and all the rest of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I was at Cambridge High School from 2009 to 2013. And honestly, I loved it. Everyone has their ups and downs, and I really enjoyed it. I made lifelong friends. I was very lucky. I'm still in contact with so many people that I went to high school with, and especially like my core group of girls. I've been lucky enough to even be a bridesmaid for one of them last year. So I've got nothing but good things to say about Cambridge High School, and I know that that's not everyone's experience of high school. But yeah, so I lived on a overgrown lifestyle block, so out on the outskirts of Cambridge and Kirapira. So when I was in year 9, I probably struggled to adjust a wee bit because I went to a rural primary school and then went to middle school and then went to high school. So I kind of went up the stepping stones and sizes, but yeah, it was a bit of a shock to the system.
Primary,
Yep.
Eva? Okay,
Yep, I
cool.
did, and I loved it. You know, like
Shout out to
you had-
Stardust, mate.
yeah. It was honestly, it was such a cool school. We had Ag Day. I took goats. I took lambs. It was an awesome upbringing. Yeah. So and like you knew everyone at your school. The teachers knew everyone, and it was an awesome time. And I'm even still friends with some of the girls that I went to primary school with. So it's pretty special. But yeah, Cambridge High School definitely. I, I found myself like learned a lot about myself at high school. I think it took me a while to find my core group of friends. My favorite subjects were definitely geography and outdoor ed. Absolutely love those subjects. Just the exposure and in year 13, I was lucky enough to go to the Gold Coast with geography as well as going to Fiji with outdoor ed. So I went snorkeling, which was pretty fantastic. It was a cool last year of school.
So you were a kid who put their hand up for opportunities. You weren't sitting back.
Absolutely.
Anything and everything.
Anything and everything. I loved the sports. You know, I was pretty mediocre at everything, but I'd give everything a go. Anything to get a day out of school for sporting was a success. Anything to get a badge on the ladder was a success. It was always a competition with my older brother, Mark, who could get the longest ladder. So that was always fun. And then I was
You mean all of the pride?
Yes, exactly. So like I did water polo, I did equestrian, I did football, volleyball, anything that you could possibly do, anything to get a t-shirt with your name on it, I would do. So yeah, I loved it. And then I was lucky enough to be head girl in 2013, and that was huge. Definitely a personality hire. I wasn't hired on my grades, and but I loved it. Yeah, it was a fantastic time. Probably one of the best years of my life so far was 2013. Just the friendships, the relationships that I got with the teachers by being head girl, the I don't know, the taste of responsibility before I left. And yeah, no, it was an awesome year for me, and as well as those 2 overseas trips. You know, I was horse riding, I was doing sports. My parents were so supportive. And I didn't even have my license. I was such a late bloomer that I'd have to catch the bus to school and my parents had to drop me off. Late bloomer. So yeah, no, it was an awesome time.
Just going back though, so a kid sitting there wants to be Eva one day or ag science or whatever. Grades, you say you weren't high on grades, but you weren't stupid either. I mean, so what sort of grades are we talking? I mean, you've said what you were good at, but did that reflect? Yeah, can you remember even?
Yeah,
how well
definitely.
NCA and things.
I mean, this is so embarrassing, but I got 0 credits in level 3 English, and that shouldn't even be possible. Like, I think when
Congratulations.
I know, like 0 credits. Because when I became head girl, I think one subject had to slip, like my grades slipped. So when I say that I was a personality hire, I was a solid merit student with hints of excellence in geography or something I enjoyed. And when I was head girl, they do say that your grade slip, and mine big time slipped. And English was a sacrifice for me. And so I somehow just missed a lot of internals. And then when it came to the exam, I can't write an essay to save myself. So I had read everything and watched all the movies, but my structure, I could not, like, I know how to spell, my grammar's fantastic, but I can't write an essay to save myself. So failed the exams as well. And then got the opportunity to, Mrs. Big said, do you want to come back and get any credits in level 3 English? And I was like, nah, that ship has sailed. Like, I can't come back. I'm done with high school. I can't come back and give credits. And I'd already got UE as well. So
Can I just say, there is a point, where that is the school's job to have you. No, it's not always I want to leave because I hate it. Yeah. I'm ready. And ready can be anything. Ready can be, I've got so many credits, I don't know what to do with them. I've got so many accolades, or I've grown to a point, I'm ready. And
exactly. I was absolutely ready. Like I just didn't see, I didn't pass it in the moment. So why would I be able to pass it when my mind has completely left high school? So yeah, an absolute embarrassment and / an achievement to get 0 credits at level 3 English. But obviously, like the way that the system works, I was able to get those credits for university entrance in other subjects like statistics and geography. So yeah.
Cool. So just at that point in time when you were considering where to go, what can you remember what it was, what options you had? Were you weighing things up? Was there a point in time you thought, I'm going to do this, this, and this? But so yeah, where were you at with your, I'm going to call it your navigation or your pathway out in that moment?
Definitely. It was honestly the most stressful time of my life. Like here I am, 18 years old, well, 17 turning 18, trying to pick a path that I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And I had no idea. For my whole life, I was going to be a vet. I was so set on it. I loved animals. I loved everything about the thought of being a vet. And then it got to actually doing it. And I was like, I don't know if my grades are good enough or if I'm capable of that, or even if I want to, can I do 5 years at uni of hard medical grade studying? I don't know. So I
You were very honest with your
yeah.
with your assessment of yourself and your career. You
Definitely.
were realistic.
Yeah, and I had to be realistic because I didn't want to get 1 year in and realize it wasn't for me, or fail miserably, or be stuck in Palmerston North and hating it. So, so no, I was so confused, and I knew I wanted to do something with animals. So that's when agricultural science was never even on my radar until my brother went to Lincoln and did ag science, and I loved the things that he was talking about. So I applied for nursing in Auckland. I applied for vet in Massey. I applied for a Bachelor of Agricultural Science in Massey, Bachelor of Agricultural Science in Lincoln. I flew to Lincoln to go and wander the campus. I drove to Palmy to go and wander Massey. I went to Auckland to just like catch the vibes, really.
So you did your homework, which would be what would be a recommendation you'd have for kids sitting in a room listening to this is if you can get an opportunity to go, to visit, to do anything, do it.
Yeah, it's huge. You got to trust your gut. And especially when there's so many options out there. Like my mum, I remember her making a comment that when she left high school, there was pretty limited options. You could become a teacher, you could become a nurse, or I don't know, those were probably her 2 main options. So she became a teacher. Yeah, exactly. Whereas now you can do anything. It's overwhelming, but it's empowering as well. But so no, I was wildly confused. I didn't even know what I wanted to do the next week, let alone for the rest of my life. So
did you go to a careers advisor or any of the did you go to, like, I'm trying to get a feel for what school tried to do, even though you were confused.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. So careers advisor, there was careers days where all these businesses come in and try and attract you to the industry. What did I do? I think I even went out for like a work experience with a vet tech. So I asked around. I really did some soul searching because it's like, what do I like and what don't I like? Like, clearly I'm not going to become an English teacher after my abysmal attempt at that. But I mean, yeah, it was overwhelming. And here I am, like, between the end of high school and starting your university career, there's a matter of months, and you have to be applying probably halfway through the year, and there's scholarships to look for. So no, I think the turning point for me was realizing that no, I just think it was out of reach for me and where I was at. So I talked to my brother about the degree he was doing and the job opportunities, and I really liked the idea of it. And then that's when I went down to Lincoln to look at Lincoln, and then I went to Massey, and I don't know, something about Lincoln. I loved the campus. It was beautiful. There was you go into the library and there's a pile of red band gumboots there because everyone wears gumboots because it's a rural university. It's so cool. Everyone's there for the same reason, and so that spoke to me. So I think it was the day that applications closed. I was like, no, I'm going to Lincoln. So I applied and got accepted into Lincoln University for the Bachelor of Agricultural Science very last minute. And I honestly, the year before, wasn't even on my radar. So
But with
See,
your
this is one thing. I'm sorry, you go, Grace.
oh, thank you. So your brother, what's your brother's name? Matt?
Mark.
Mark? Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Mark went, I'm thinking about being a younger sibling myself, and you were hearing him talk about it and that got you excited, right? But was there a part of you, and maybe you have a different relationship than like other siblings have, where you're like, I can't do that because Mark's doing that. I don't want to copy him. Was that a part like
Oh,
walk us through that part?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000%. Like when we were growing up, I couldn't even get the same ice cream as him because he'd throw a tantrum. So, you know, like we definitely have that relationship. So that's why I was like, oh, if I'm gonna do it, I'll go to Massey. I'll do it a wee bit different. Because like at Cambridge High School, you know, for the first 2 years, I was Mark's sister because all the teachers had Mark, and then all of a sudden I'm coming through and they're like, "Oh, you're Mark's sister," and I was like, "I don't want that at uni. I've just got rid of that." So yeah, no, there's a part of me doing that, but I don't know when I stepped foot on the campus at Lincoln, it's stunning, and I was like, he's gonna have to suck it up. I'm gonna have to suck it up. I think this is what I want to do. And honestly, it was a huge help in the end because I got his old notes and I got help in exams, and so it actually worked out really, really well for me. So yeah.
I'm glad you touched on Lincoln. So tell us more about, so because there'll be kids maybe not wanting to even do your degree, but they're dabbling with a Lincoln, even particularly from being a South Islander going down. No, a North Islander going down to the south, and that whole move. Sell us Lincoln. I mean, it sounds like you love it. If we pass this to them and they want to use it, you know, for young kids who are going, should I go? Hostels, halls, lifestyle, best pubs. What do you got?
It's awesome. It's a really, really cool uni. I knew that I wanted to move out of the Waikato because I wanted to get away from my parents and spread my wings a wee bit and just get some independence. And that meant leaving, you know, I sold my horses and stuff and left them with 6 goats at home. So it was a huge decision. And I actually hated it at the beginning because I really struggled and I almost dropped out. So I went from having so many friends at Cambridge High School, being head girl, knowing everyone, and then I went to Lincoln and I struggled to make friends. I would ring my parents crying and being like, I've made a mistake. This is the worst decision ever. But all it took was just finding some people that I had something in common with, and everything changed for me. So yeah, Lincoln was awesome. I was in Southland Hall, and it overlooked the cricket pitch, and it was fantastic. So I was in a pod of there were 6 of us, and my pod mates were great. We were all doing different degrees, and yeah, no, it was really, really cool. But it wasn't until I made my first friend that things changed for me. So yeah, so honestly, I nearly dropped out because I really struggled. And like I'm off the lifestyle block, and growing up, I thought I was rural. I was like, man, I've got a horse, we've got some sheep. I'm rural. But going to Lincoln, these guys are off high country stations and huge dairy farms, and I was like, wow, am I meant to be here? Is this actually for me? Like I don't even know what half these people are talking about. I don't know my way around a cowshed. And sidebar, there was this one exam that I went to in my first year, and it was a plant identification exam for plant science. Someone held up a plant and said to everyone, if you don't know what this is, you shouldn't be at Lincoln. And I had no idea what it was. I was like, oh my goodness, what have I got myself in for? Never seen that before in my life. And it was fodder beet, and he was from the South Island, and they grow heaps of fodder beet down there. So just little things like that. I was oh, wow, this isn't for me. But I made the best friends after a few weeks, and I've never looked back, and I'm still friends with them. We have a girls' trip every year. Again, I've been a bridesmaid for a couple of them, and yeah, no, I've found my people at Lincoln.
How did you pay? So there'll be kids sitting here, and it's a really hard time. We bent around allowances, student loans, kids working prior school. How did you fund this excursion and this investment in your future?
I mean, that's a great question. So as I mentioned before, I went to Fiji and I went to the Gold Coast in my last year of high school. So all my funds went on that, and I didn't have a license, so I didn't have a job. So when I went to uni, I was pretty skint already, and I was very fortunate that my parents had an agreement with all three of us kids that they'll pay for the first year of halls, and then everything else we pay for ourselves. So I got a student loan, and I loved it. I racked up every single dollar of debt that I possibly could. I got living costs, I got allowance, I got student loan, anything that would help me stay afloat. And I don't regret it, but I did. I came out of university with $60,000 worth of debt. And well, I left university at the end of 2017. I'm still paying that off, but at the end of next year, halfway through next year, I would have paid that off, and it allowed me to get the jobs that I have now. So I don't regret it at all. I think it's a good way to go. I don't think you should go there with no money and not have a job at all. Like, I worked in every holidays I worked, and part of the degree is you have to do a summer placement on to get practical experience during the summer. And that's awesome because that's paid work. So so every summer I would replenish my stocks in the bank account, and then throughout the year I would just really run it thin. So so I paid for it with a loan, and I don't regret it at all.
Good. Right. So you're now qualified. You get a degree. You got a P. No, what was you got an honours? Is that?
I got So with the degree down in Lincoln, it's a 4-year degree versus like at Massey it's 3 years. So in the 4th year, you get the opportunity to do your honours dissertation. And so if you have a B+ average, they ask you to do your honours dissertation. But I did not have a B+ average, so I had a contingency plan. And so I went with a topic, and I found a professor that would back me, and we put it forward saying, hey, I know I'm not a B+ student. I can't even remember what I was, but definitely not a B+. And I said, this is what I want to do. This is who's going to back me. And I got accepted in to do my honours dissertation. So I did that. I did the adoption of goat farming in New Zealand, which was more of like a farm management style. And I wrote my dissertation on that and loved it. Yeah, I'm glad I did it. And so that was the 4th year. You do normal papers as well as that honours dissertation paper. So I've got a Bachelor of Agricultural Science with honours.
Cool. This is on the spot. You might not know. What else does Lincoln do that you know? Like, did you have other friends? Like, just a vague idea. What do they offer? Because it's one of those weirder unis that most kids aren't aware of.
Definitely, yeah, and it's an awesome. So when I was there, it was a wee bit different. It was not long after the earthquakes. Enrollments were down. They were trimming the fat. So there used to be like anything land-based, So they had diplomas of agriculture. You've got a Bachelor of Agricultural Commerce. You've got a Bachelor of Ag. They used to have an entomology degree and the coolest entomology museum there, but I think that's gone. So you've got environmental planning. My friends they had sporting degrees. One of my friends did a viticulture degree, and now she's a head winemaker down in Martinborough. What else did they've got such a variety, and I think it really surprises me what they did have, and they've got new degrees since I've left. To boost enrollments, I think they've added a lot of degrees, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
Okay. So how did you go about getting your job? So now we're talking careers. Kids can see how your schools and your upbringing has clearly defined where you studied and how you studied and the type of degree. I think you got a pretty cool job. How did you go about that? And then talking about that company and what you do.
Yeah, definitely. So when I was leaving uni, I didn't know what I wanted to do. With the Bachelor of Agricultural Science, you can do anything. You can go farming, you can go into banking, anything in the rural sector is kind of open to you, which is fantastic, but it's overwhelming. I felt like I was back in high school, didn't know what I wanted to do. I just spent $60,000 on a degree, and I wasn't any further along in the choice of my career that I was going to do for the rest of my life. So I applied for a lot, and I got rejected a lot. Sometimes I wouldn't even get through to the interview stages because I knew if I got through to the interview stages, people would give me a shot. Yeah. But I mean, on paper, I don't know, like I wasn't off a farm, and I was worried that was going to hold me back. So, I just really needed to get through to that interview stages. So a lot of companies, they offer graduate programs or cadetships or, things like that. It's looking for graduates to come into it, and it's cutthroat, you know, like a lot of people are applying for it, and you do need to stand up from the crowd. So I applied. I got so many rejections, and then finally Ravensdown. I got through to the psychometric testing, and I was like, cool. And then I got through to the interview process, and I was like, smash that. That was awesome. And then I never heard back from them, and everyone else was getting told, yep, you're in or you're out. And I just had radio silence. So I thought it was a bit weird. And then I finally get a phone call from them, because this is me, sorry, applying for their graduate program. And I think they had 6 or 8 spots or something. And they rang me and they're like, we really want you, but we're just waiting to see if someone says yes or no, and then you're in. And I was like, man, so I'm just that
You're
one on
number
the
7.
I'm number 7. Yeah, which sucked. And I knew who number 6 was. It was a friend of mine from uni, and he was umming and ahhing, and I was like, you need to make a decision. And he decided to go.
No.
Yeah, exactly. And so he decided to go for it, and fantastic. But then it meant that I missed out, and I was gutted. But they rang me and they said, hey, we don't have a spot for you in the graduate program, but we love you and we want you in our company in some capacity. And I was like, this is so rogue. So they flew me up to Napier, and they're like, we want you in the customer center. We want you because we really want you to work for us. We just don't have a spot where you want to be. So yeah, they offered me a job in the customer center, on the phones, talking to farmers. And at first I was like, nah, absolutely not. Like I want to be out in the field. I want to be talking to farmers face to face. But then the more I thought about it, I was like, this is a foot in the door. I like the company. I like the brand. I'm still dealing with farmers, and it's really, really good experience. So I said to them, I said, yep, because there was me and one other girl from Massey who both got offered jobs in the customer center, and we were both we met up, and we were both had the same mindset. We're like, yep, we'll take it, but this is a stepping stone into the agri manager role, you know, and as long as they knew that, then it was fine. So I did 6 months in the customer center, and I loved it. I actually think it was the best start to my career. I learned the systems. I learned how to talk to farmers. I learned how to answer the phone and not freak out. I learned how to troubleshoot. You know, people ringing the customer center are either ringing you for a good thing or a bad thing. And so I learned so much. And then the role in Topol came up 6 months later in July, and I went for it. And I ended up actually beating the graduates out of the graduate scheme because they weren't ready to be released into the big wide world. So I took this job, and it was awesome. It ticked all the boxes. It was baptism by fire. You know, I wasn't off the farm, so getting to learn farm systems and how people operate was awesome. But and I loved it. Yeah, I really loved it. And then I did that for 5 years, and then I actually took.
What were you doing?
So agri manager. So soil testing, out walking the hills, taking soil samples, sending it off to the lab, and then you're getting results back, and then you're creating a fertilizer plan for them. So nutrient budgets and creating a fertilizer plan and tailoring it to each farmer, to their budget, to their needs, to sitting down with them at the kitchen table and just hashing out a plan, an annual plan that works for them. Cool. And it's awesome. I'm solving problems for them, and it's like baking a cake. You know, you're putting all these fertilizer products together to get the best solution. So yeah.
Cool. Are some of those in the more modern world becoming environmentally, like you're adjusting to that?
Definitely.
The voices over the other side. Is that?
Yeah, definitely. And times have changed. You know, when I first started, that was there's now a cap from the government. You can't apply over 190 kgs of nitrogen per hectare per year. And so that's changed the industry, you know, people, intensive farmers down in the South Island, or even in intensive farming anywhere, they were applying well over that. So Ravensdown has been probably through a tough time. They went from high highs of selling a lot of fertilizer, manufacturing a lot of superphosphate, to some low lows. And they've been through 2 restructures, just the industry changing. And it's probably been a bit of a wave. And I think the whole agricultural industry has been a bit of a roller coaster in the last few years, but it's been pretty cool to be part of it. And yeah.
Cool. The future. So what sort of, you're working for a great company, you love what you do. Do you see yourself, oh, and I also want to touch on the female aspect, because I'm not sure many females are sitting in classrooms with this potential. They're either really good at science, biology, maybe they love their geography, maybe they're from a lifestyle of farm. So the female aspect and your future. So whether you can mush that together, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. So, I think females are becoming more prominent in the agriculture industry, and there's definitely still roles that are very, very male dominated. Like finding a female stock agent is like very, very rare, and I think there's still probably a stigma around that. In Ravensdown, we have a lot of females as agri managers, which is really cool. I think a lot of sales reps are females. Bank managers, I think that's still pretty male dominated. But yeah, no, I think I don't feel like I have ever been disadvantaged as being a female, but in saying that, I have definitely had to prove that I know what I'm talking about in certain scenarios. I'm when I first started, I was in my early 20s, sitting down with farmers who had been doing this their whole lives, and they're in their 50s and 60s, and I'm telling them what to buy or how they can improve their business. So yeah, we're given the tools to back ourselves, but until they trust you, you got to work hard, definitely. But it's cool because like there was so many females at Lincoln, and they've all gone on to do so many different things, and it's so cool. Like even my flatmates, like I've got one who went farming and she loves it, and then I've got one who's working for a bank. I've got me who's a rep. Just so many pathways, and they're all doing great things, and it's awesome. And then my future, well, I've actually just recently come back to Ravensdown. So I've been back. I had a little wee hiatus. So after 5 years with Ravensdown, I quit my job and I went traveling for 3 months because I wanted a break. I went straight from uni from uni into a full-time working job. So, and I'd watch my friends' travels, and I was like, oh, I'll do it one day. And then finally I was like, today's the day. I quit my job, and then 5 weeks later, I was on a plane to Greece and did 3 months around Europe. And
we
then
hated looking at your pictures too.
Exactly, I know. I mean, honestly, I look back at them myself and I get jealous. So, and then so when I came back, I was unemployed for a summer. Loved it, fantastic. Really, really enjoyed my time. And then I actually got another job with a farm management company as a sustainability advisor. So I did that for 11 months. And then my old role became available, and I just missed it so much. I think traveling and doing a different job, I learned a lot about myself. I learned what I liked and what I disliked, and I'm a social being. I can't be in an office not talking to anyone. I need that social interaction every single day. So yeah, when Ravensdown, this opportunity came up, I jumped at it, and yeah, so I'm pretty comfy for the future. I think I'm happy where I am. I've only been back 5 months, and it's a tough industry to come back to. It's definitely changed a lot, but I feel so supportive, and it's ticking my boxes. Like this is something that I dreamed of as a kid. Is I get paid to chat. Like I'm getting paid to sit at a table and talk. How cool is that? And like I'm out walking hills, soil testing, and I manage my time. And yeah, so no, I'm pretty happy. I love Taupo. I'm lucky enough to own a house here as well. So I don't see myself leaving Taupo anytime soon. I've got a wee dog. I've got flatmates. So I'm pretty happy actually.
Now, I don't know how many times this will happen, but it seems like, a real shout out to your school, Cambridge High School, a shout out to Lincoln, and it's a shout out to Ravensdown. It seems like you're someone who made the most of every turn. Your personality's key. And every one of those decisions was really honest. You know, and I think sometimes it's massive, hey? You're honest about your ability, maybe, or where your potential lie. Yeah, what a real honest assessment of
Yeah,
everything.
definitely. Because one thing that I really struggled with when I went to that other job, you know, I never wanted to ever be at a job for less than a year, and I put so much pressure on myself. And so when I wasn't really enjoying it as much as I thought I would, I'm like, oh, I'll stick it out for a year. And it's like, well, why? You know, like they're not getting the best out of me. I'm not really enjoying it or getting the best out of myself. So I had so much guilt leaving that job before a year was up. But I mean, the first day back at Ravensdown, I was like, you know, I'm glad I did that because I would have just been wasting everyone's time and something that I didn't enjoy doing. Just because I felt bad or I enjoyed the people that I was working with. So yeah, no, you got to make really honest decisions. And I mean, everyone's replaceable, and I had to really remind myself that. So yeah, no, I'm really glad that I made that decision to leave.
Grace doesn't know this, but I just want to do a quick test. So I'm going to show Grace some things, and you're going to, hopefully you get them right. So Grace,
Okay.
do you know what they are?
Okay, it's some sort of like, they're not pliers because they look like scissors, but then there's something I'm thinking that's to chop. Is it like is it in the garden? What is it?
Okay, that one's right. Eva.
Dagging shears.
Oh,
Wool shears.
Yeah,
for the sheep. Yeah.
At the butt. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay, now that I know the vibe we're on, that is to go around the tail. No, yeah, around the tail, and then you tie that little thing so that the tails fall off.
And their nuts.
One all.
And then
It goes around the nuts as well.
oh, there's no fucking idea what to do with that. What's
I
that?
hope Eva knows this one.
Does it open up?
Sort of this thing can move, but Eva, any idea?
Nah, I don't know. I thought it was a horse file at first, but
Sort of, it is a file. It's a chainsaw file with a guide on it.
perfect.
Okay, that is for a hose.
I suppose in town speak, Grace, hose will do. Yeah. Eva, what is it?
Is it a water pipe connection?
Yeah. I'll do it last.
Oh, and this, of course, is a for a trailer.
Close.
Sorry.
Is that a gate hinge?
A gate hinge. I got you. Nice. You need to go to Lincoln, Grace.
I know.
Make sure you've got your red bands before you go to Lincoln there.
I reckon we should throw you into the environment for a week and see if you're found out.
Pretty quickly, they'd show up that first plant that Eva spoke of. It's like,
Honestly, I have nightmares. I have nightmares about that. Imposter syndrome big time when I heard that.
My one was when they made us lick rocks. And you were going to lick them and know what they were.
Oh my God.
Find another subject.
Well, Eva, too, I've got two questions. One's a bit more practical, sort of with your industry and job and stuff, and then one's more of that character. So starting with the practical one, this degree, especially not even like the honours part, but just like ag science, etc. Are there opportunities for Kiwis to go abroad and work in Australia, Europe, wherever? Like, what does that look like?
Definitely. Yeah. This degree is awesome, you know, like, because the agricultural industry in other places is huge. So like, let's say, I think this is testing my knowledge, Ireland or Scotland, you can go over and be like a AI tech. So LIC with the semen and stuff and artificial insemination into the cows. That's huge overseas as well. So there's so many opportunities, and there's so many of my peers that have gone overseas. You know, there's one of my old flatmates who's really big in the Angus industry now, and she's taken that overseas. lots of people have gone farming overseas, and New Zealand's reputation is so good. They know that we're hard workers, and they're well known for a little wee country. We punch way above our weight in the agricultural industry. So there's huge opportunities. Or even without the degree, you can go over and you can do a harvest over in Australia. You can go just do so much. You can go farming in the UK. You can go, yeah, huge opportunities to go into other rural communities around the world.
That's awesome. Thank you. Because I think there will be people who are similar how you were with like the Waikato region being like, oh, I want to get out and explore somewhere else. If you are from down South Island or wherever, you go, cool, I know I want to come back here and maybe manage the farm or take over or whatever, but in the meantime, I want to travel, knowing that you go to Lincoln or wherever, get that degree, get some experience overseas and do your travel in your summer or whatever. So thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then the part two links to what Blair was saying about like the honesty, because I wrote down when you left and then came back about burning bridges. Because I think, the people listening to this, the kids who are in high school, maybe that's not a conversation yet, but even if they're going to go study at Auckland Uni and they need to quit their job, but they'd love to come back and work in the summers. Like, how have you navigated leaving somewhere, quote unquote, quitting or just, leaving, but not burning that bridge on your way out?
Yeah, good question. This is actually something that I am quite passionate about. So, when I left, I think I identified that I was ready for some change. I don't know at the time if I needed to travel or if I needed to do something different. So I left when I still loved it, and it was so hard to leave because I had these great relationships. I was managing a book of over 100 farmers. I loved my coworkers. I loved my bosses. And so it was really hard to leave because it was so easy to stay. But I knew that I needed to leave then because I was in such a good place. I didn't want to get to the point where it was toxic or, or like I wasn't enjoying it anymore or I'd been past my use by date, like I didn't want to leave when I was making mistakes and stuff. So I left at a good time. And I'm pretty lucky. They were so understanding. I think it was funny when I was leaving, they'd be like, oh, why are you leaving? We want you to stay. And as soon as I said, I'm leaving to go travel, every single person was like, nah, fair enough. You've got to go. You'll never regret it. You'll have the best time. And it was so nice. Everyone was so supportive. And it was funny because after 5 years, so like customers, I love my customers so much, but there's bad times and there's good times. But as soon as I said I was leaving, all these compliments came out of the woodwork. Everyone was so nice to me, and I was like, exactly. All of a sudden, I was feeling so valued, and I was like, "Am I leaving? Everyone's saying such nice things about me." But no, I'm really glad that I went. And when I think it was a bit out of the blue, quite abrupt probably when I left. But they always said that the door was always open, and I kept in touch with them. I kept in touch with my coworkers and my bosses and stuff. And I think I had spent 5 years building such good relationships that I knew that the door would always be open. And it's different when you haven't enjoyed it, or if you haven't built those relationships, not so much. But I mean, these were my friends as well, so it was hard to leave, but it was very easy to come back. Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. I'm wondering, sorry, you're sitting behind the curtain for a second. How
No, I love this.
There's like a sort of sign-off question I'm thinking, but I don't know what you have before. What open-ended question I'd love to say too is like, is there anything we didn't ask, sort of that you think we should have? And then, because Eva might think of something that we haven't thought of, but is there anything else still on your list that you want to ask or get with Eva?
I think we've got really lucky here. I think you've
Yeah.
I'm still just picturing that kid now sitting in a classroom, AirPods in, deciding whether they're Lincoln or Egg Science, and they've got a real insight into paying for it or an attitude around student loans. They've got yeah, I'm a female or I'm a North Islander or I'm maybe not even feeling qualified because I'm not off a farm. I think the way you've represented yourself, your family, Lincoln, Cambridge, yeah, you've done everything right.
Yeah.
And in fact, you can go back to an old job. I'd have been likely to just throw all my toys out and be exhausted and walk out. You know, you've been aware that relationships at every turn is everything.
Definitely. And I relationship management, like you asked about my future before, and I don't really know what my future holds, but if I could create the ultimate job, it would be something in the agricultural industry that is relationship management. You know, like I don't know if that's someone bringing business to me and I just get to manage clients because I love it. I love farmers. I love sitting down. I love problem solving. I love talking to them. I love finding out more about their business. I just like I'm technically in a sales role, but what brought me back to this role is the relationship management. It's huge for me, and it's ticks all of my boxes. Is when I get up and I know that I'm going to go out and I'm gonna talk to people and find out, and like it's there's days that I don't talk to people, and they're probably my sad days. So yeah, no, it's always a good day when I get to talk to a whole bunch of people. So
Cool. I just have one thing.
Pulling up his phone.
I had to thank you.
oh, Eva the pig. Didn't you rehomed it?
So they went to Taylor, an ex-student of ours, on a little farmlet, and it was a really sad day. But we just couldn't bring them. But for old Eva still, running around. So when I put the little ginger pig out, and I think you messaged and went, well, it has to be called Eva.
I was on it, honestly.
She's a brilliant pig.
Oh, that is so funny. Oh, this has been so fun. You guys are nailing this. I'm so excited to see where you guys take this, and like having people like Cam Roygard will be fantastic.
Yeah. Well,
Eva,
look, thank you so much.
yeah, no, thank you. No, I was thinking to ask, and I'm curious to your thoughts on this little sign-off question of if you could talk to yourself, because there's a lots of kids listening, but if you could talk to yourself back in year 12 or 13, what's a piece of advice you think would have helped you out?
Oh, that is such a good question. I really, really like that question. Probably, I don't know, something about you'll get through that first period at uni. You'll hate it. You'll struggle to find your people, but I just would tell her that you'll find your people and you will be so happy with the friends that you make. Just tough it out. It's going to be hard. There's going to be so many tears, but it's so worth it in the end. And Lincoln was definitely the right choice. So yeah, probably that.
You're brilliant, Eva. Wicked.
Thank you so much. This has actually been fantastic. If you need anything from me in the future, please just reach out.
If kids reach out to us and want to know more, we can divert some questions.
Definitely.
See what we can dig up.
Yeah, I feel like I haven't sung Lincoln's praises enough, but honestly, it was a good time. So if anyone wants to go to Lincoln, just tell them to reach out because it was so much fun. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome, Eva. Take care, eh?
Have a good day, guys. Thanks. See ya.
Dude.